Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. So, I've got an idea about what I'd like to do up here, and I need to get it onto a canvas. I'm using a smaller canvas today. This is a 10-inch by 12-inch canvas, and I'm going to use a couple of tools. Let me just quickly show you. So I've got these in mind, some tape, and some ready mixed paint. Can you guess what I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to see if I can do it. I'm going to talk you through the process, and I'm going to talk you through how I think at that particular point in time. So this piece is going to be completely free-flowing. This is about no boundaries, no barriers, and I'm just exploring my creativity. So let's see if we can get what's in here onto the canvas. I'm so grateful that you're here today. Let's see what we can create. So let me show you my table. So there's my canvas, 12 inches by 10-inch canvas. I've got my tape, I've got my tools, my scrapers, and I've got my paints. I've chosen these 4 colours. These are all by Pebeo. They're pouring paint, so they're already mixed up. And as you can see, I've got an aqua green, a turquoise blue, a light violet, and a silver. So that's what I'm using today. Let's go. So I'm just going to use some tape just to tape off an edge around the canvas. That's going to act almost like a natural frame around the creation that we're going to do. And this is going to be BOHO inspired. Well, it's going to kind of have that vibe, but my intention isn't just to create that. It's actually going to be the shadows and the depth that we're going to create while scraping. But I'll explain more of that as we go through the process. But first of all, let's get that tape around the edge of the canvas to create that frame. Okay, so the tape is firmly down. I'm just pressing down on the edges just to ensure that it seals the tape onto the canvas. So I'm now going to take one colour at a time, and I'm placing that colour onto the tape, because when I swipe that colour over the surface area, I'm going to be able to have that kind of block colour as I go. And you'll see what I mean as we start. So I'm just using this basic scraper, and I'm literally dipping the scraper into the tape and then just dragging the paint in a direction from one side to the other. And I'm going to do that several times with those 4 colours, and you'll see how we can build up that picture. But what I'm really looking for are lines. And as I go over one colour with another colour, just looking at the different tone that it can create. So I'm going to take some time now, using one colour at a time, just to fill that surface area with those 4 colours. Just using that scraper to spread the paint across that surface area. So that's enough colour for me on this canvas. I feel that I've used all the colours. I've got some different tones, but it's now about just literally using the scraper to create different patterns. And as I scrape each time, I'm going to see different lines. And as I scrape, the shapes will come into it their own. So I'm going to create some depth here and some shadows. And I'm just going to literally do that by using the paint that's already on the canvas. So you can see there, I've just pressed down quite firmly and I'm just doing some circular motions. And you can see the lines that it's creating, those shadows and that depth. I'm so happy with this, and I think it's going to pop even more when I take the tape off, because that's what we created around the edge, almost like a frame. So I'm now going to peel the tape off one piece at a time, just dispose of that in my bin, and then I'll take you in for a closer look at this creation. So here we go. This is still wet. I will place this to one side to dry. It won't take long to dry at all because there's not a huge volume of paint on there. But you can see all the different lines that were created just by using that scraper, initially placing the paint on the tape, scraping it across the canvas. A little bit like when I use the squeegee. I don't know if you've seen any of my previous creations when I've used a squeegee. But it's the lines that I had in my mind that I wanted to create, and by doing that and by overlapping them has really created almost like a 3D element. It's that depth and those shadows that were created. So I feel like I've achieved what I set out to achieve. I'll take you in now for a closer look at the dry version. It's not going to have changed much. It's literally going to have dried. But what I will say is when you pick your colour palette, think about how those colours will dry. And some colours will dry a lot darker than when they are wet. So just be mindful of that when you're pulling a colour palette together. But what I really love about this piece, as I say, are those shadows that were created, that depth. And you can almost see different things when you turn it a different way, whether it's portrait or landscape. Let me know what your favourite is, and when you look at this piece, do you see anything specifically that you'd like to share? If you do, pop them in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I get to see you again in the next video, and have a great week. Bye!